This Impact Wrestling review was brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Try it, and Garrett Bischoff will learn a third facial expression.
Do you have to do that right now?
Yes.
Well, it's just really distracting, you know? You cleaning your shotgun right there while I'm trying to record the video.
Learn to live with disappointment.
So, this was the episode that TNA finally put...
Oops.
As I was saying, this was the episode where TNA finally pulled the curtain back on the Jobbers and Scrubs swerve that was 9 months in the making. This is where they finally explained everything, where they addressed every plot hole, every inconsistency, and finally just laid the whole thing out for everybody. I admit, when I heard about this, I was skeptical. I think a lot of us were. But I went in with an open mind, and I was pleasantly surprised. They had multiple video packages throughout the show, going over the entire history of the storyline. They covered the stuff with James Storm last summer, why Anderson would want to join the group, as well as some other details that you would think had escaped them. And I was actually really impressed with how many bases they were able to cover here. You gotta give the writers credit on this one. They explained just about everything. You're paying attention to a lot of details when it didn't look like they had been at the time. And that takes care of one of the main problems with this angle, that it really didn't seem to make any sense. Now it does. There were a few small issues though. Why Nux and Doc are in there was not really addressed. D'Lo Brown, same thing. Garrett Bischoff's reason for joining the group seemed really flimsy. Oh, Hogan didn't pick you to fight the Jobbers and Scrubs. He didn't pick you for a Championship Thursday title shot. Boo fucking who. And I think they kind of glossed over why Taz and Garrett and Wes revealed themselves when they didn't have to and gave up their anonymity, which supposedly gave them their power. I really wasn't clear on that part. But in the grand scheme of things, those are probably minor complaints. So while the explanation may not have been 100% bulletproof, and I think I do still have a few lingering questions, it was good enough that I was satisfied with it. They explained a lot more than I thought they would. The nagging plot holes have been done away with, and now at least we understand everything. We understand the purpose of the group, the motivations of the group, and that stuff makes a difference. So this was fantastic. I just wish we had gotten it like 4 or 5 months ago, back when I still gave a shit about this faction. And there's still a matter of the poor lineup and them losing matches every week for months on end, which is going to be really hard to come back from. I still don't like the group. I still think most of the guys in it are pretty worthless, but this was a big step in the right direction. You know, it may have taken a really fucking long time to get to the point. I think if they'd progressed it at a faster pace, it probably would have worked better, because there were several months there where it felt like just nothing was happening. But kudos to the writers for at least having a plan and sticking to it. You know, that's commendable. Anyway, Hogan starts by introducing the men that are going to be his guys to oppose the Jobbers and Scrubs going forward. And Eric Young was not one of them. That made me laugh. So, it's Hardy, Angle, Magnus, and Joe. No complaints. All those guys make sense. James Storm probably should be in there too, but he's feuding with AJ Styles now, so that's not an issue. Hogan asks Jeff Hardy if he's ready for a shot at Bully Ray, and he is the former champion, so he should be getting a rematch. But this part was strange. Hardy says that he's not really sure because he's kind of beat up, and he suggests that they have a four-way match where the winner gets the world title shot.
What?
If Jeff is beat up, wouldn't being in a #1 contendership match before facing Bully Ray just make his problems worse? He's got a title shot on the table, but he's like, no, let's do this other match first. You know, that was weird. But it got Magnus and Samoa Joe in a #1 contendership match, so you know what? I'm okay with this. Yes! We had a tag title match with the Wet Dream Team defending against Los Stereotypicos. Match was solid, but the most entertaining thing about this was when Chavo got booed for doing the Three Amigos again. You're not in the Impact Zone anymore, Chavo. You're not even in Texas. You can't expect a cheap pop for doing that stuff now.
Yet again, I am standing before another ignoramus.
Bad Influence interfere, Wet Dream Team get the pin and get beat down by Daniels and Kaz afterwards. Awesome. This is the tag team feud that everyone wants to see. You put aside the bland and boring tag team, and you feud these two dynamic, entertaining tag teams, and now I'm excited. Oh man, the promos for this feud are going to be hysterical. I can't wait for this. And as for Los Stereotypicos, it's time to concede that these guys really don't work as babyfaces. As a team, they're serviceable, but their complete lack of charisma or charm or anything like that just kills them. Especially when compared to Bad Influence and the Wet Dream Team, who are entertaining as hell. If you want to keep rolling with Chavo and Hernandez, probably the best thing you could do is turn them heel. I mean, they're getting booed anyway, so you might as well. It does leave you without a babyface tag team, but that's not going to stop me from enjoying the hell out of the Wet Dream Team versus Bad Influence, I'll tell you that. So there's new rules in the X Division now. And while they did a terrific job explaining the Jobbers and Scrubs angle, this could have been done better. Apparently, every X Division match will now be a triple threat. I'm not really sure of the reasoning behind this or what it's supposed to accomplish. Are they not allowed to have one-on-one matches or tag team matches anymore? That seems kind of limiting, doesn't it? I mean, what's the purpose of this? I don't understand. There's a new weight limit of 230 pounds. I don't know why they're bothering with that again. You know, the 225-pound weight limit lasted for like 2 months before they threw that out, so it seems kind of pointless. Also, if you get pinned in a title match, you then have to earn your way back into the title picture by working another triple threat match, I think. I gotta say, these rules are kind of confusing. I mean, this all seems needlessly complicated to me. I mean, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, I guess, but my initial reaction is that this is going to limit possibilities more than create them. On the other hand, it will pretty much force them to get some new X Division talent, and that's great because there was only so much they could do with King, Ion, and York. And here they brought Sanjay Dutt back, and the improvements were felt already. Sanjay really tore it up in there. That moonsault stomp is amazing every time I see it. And the match was really good. You know, swapping out Christian York for Sanjay Dutt is a big plus, and hopefully Sanjay sticks around this time. They could really use him right now. So, I'm on the fence about these new rules, but, I mean, hell, the first match delivered, so they're off to a good start at least. So because of her recent problems with Gail Kim, Brooke Hogan fires Taryn Terrell as the Knockouts referee and rehires her as a Knockout wrestler. You know, pretty much the Shane Sewell storyline all over again, except with a feud we might actually give a shit about this time. The promos here were not great, but we got a new knockout in the mix finally that gives you new matchups you can make with the women, and not a moment too soon. Hallelujah. Might not be the knockout a lot of us wanted, but it's something, and by God, I'll take it. I mean, hell, this is already my favorite potential knockout feud simply because it's a matchup I haven't seen before, so great. Thank you. The Bring Back Ivelisse sign in the hard camera shot was not lost on me, however. Then Bully Ray shows up to get in Brooke's face, and he's all, yeah, we're still married, Brooke, till death do us part and choke on that. That was funny. And I was going to make a joke about the Hogan's divorce attorney, but that just seemed too easy. Surprisingly, that was the only time Bully Ray or any of the Jobbers and Scrubs appeared in person all night. As it turns out, that would end up helping the show a lot. More on that later. Matt Morgan versus Joseph Park. They wasted no time getting to the point on this one. Morgan wins with the carbon footprint, and if you remember the Morgan-Abyss feud from a while back, you probably knew what to expect from this. It was pretty forgettable from a wrestling standpoint, but what's so brilliant about the Joseph Park character is that not only does he not have to win matches to keep his heat, but he doesn't really have to deliver good wrestling either. Because with him, it's not about having a great wrestling match, it's about giving a great character performance. And kayfabe-wise, he's really not supposed to know what he's doing. He's supposed to be the fish out of water who puts up a fight and occasionally gets a win despite himself, but is mainly the everyman surrounded by professional wrestlers. That's Joseph Park. It's not the wrestler, but the character that gets over. So, in a weird way, he's kind of the perfect opponent for Matt Morgan, who has had to complain about him for a long time that he doesn't really deliver 4-star matches. Well, with Joseph Park, he doesn't have to. He just has to be big and mean and scary, and Joseph will take care of the rest, and it'll get over. Plus, Joseph is Hogan's buddy, Morgan has a grudge against Hogan, they might not deliver any classic matches together, but I think the feud makes a lot of sense right now. Mike Tenay has an in-ring interview with AJ Styles. I don't know why JB didn't do it, but whatever. He's trying to figure out where AJ's head is at, throwing out accusations of drugs and alcohol. Seems unnecessary. The whole thing is pretty simple to me. AJ's life and career turned to shit, he couldn't take it anymore, and he snapped. I think it really is that simple. But before Tenay can get anything out of him, Taz interrupts and bashes Tenay. Oh, the irony. The irony of Taz daring to criticize someone else's interview skills these days. Taz, shut up.
I got a factoid for both you guys. I got a boil on my ass.
Then James Storm comes out to save the segment from Taz. You were just a minute or two late there, Storm. He confronts AJ, they tease some stuff, AJ leaves without saying a word. Another week, and this angle is still the most compelling thing on this whole show. AJ doesn't reveal anything, he's still silent and mysterious, so you're still wondering what's going on with him. He doesn't fight with Storm because they got 2 or 3 months until Slammiversary, no need to rush anything. This was perfectly done, I thought. And it occurs to me that they have a really weird opportunity here. Now just go with me for a minute. Hypothetically, if this were to eventually lead to AJ Styles versus Bully Ray for the title at Bound for Glory, it will have been the John Cena Road to Redemption storyline, except done right. Because there really was a fall from grace here. AJ's life and career really did fall apart. His character was called into question. He lost matches he shouldn't have lost. He probably fell into a depression. Hell, the signs are all there. AJ really did hit rock bottom, and now he has to work through a whole lot of shit to drag himself back up to the top. Whereas John Cena really didn't do any of that stuff. He lost to The Rock, and he said he had a shit year because of that, but he really didn't. And as a result, the build-up to Rock Cena twice in a lifetime feels like a bunch of bullshit. If TNA were to do this with AJ Styles, it will have been everything John Cena's Road to Redemption should have been, but wasn't. Something to think about. Then we had our 4-way main event. It's a solid match. Everybody gets a chance to shine in there. I liked it a lot. Really great to see Magnus and Samoa Joe getting some fresh faces in the main event scene. Jeff Hardy wins. I'm fine with that. He had a rematch coming to him anyway. And did this just kind of put us back where we were at the top of the show? Yeah, but fuck it. I got to see some of my guys in the main event, so I can overlook that little detail. And then there's the Lance Storm criticism of how it's stupid that the babyfaces are fighting each other instead of the Jobbers and Scrubs. And Lance might have a point there, but you know what? If the alternative is seeing guys like Nux and Doc and Devon and Garrett Bischoff in the main event, then I'll take the babyfaces fighting each other any fucking day.
Yes! 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 Yes!
You know, aside from a few gripes here and there, Taz, Raz! I thought this was a great show. Easily the best Impact in months. And in a lot of ways, this was the show that I wished we had gotten last week. We got full disclosure on the Jobbers and Scrubs angle. They established the new status quo with the 4 main babyfaces, 5 if we're counting Sting, which I really hope we're not. We got some fresh faces in the main event scene. We had a new knockout introduced with Taryn Terrell. They're doing new stuff with the X Division. The jury's still out on these new rules, but it is something new at least. And perhaps the biggest reason of all, aside from Bully Ray, the Jobbers and Scrubs did not appear this week. The most enjoyable Impact in months for me was the first one in months where the Jobbers and Scrubs never showed up. Coincidence? Nah. It's a testament to how much this piss-poor faction is dragging the show down with it. Now, will all the dots that the writers connected this week help the group at all? Only time will tell. But TNA delivered this week. This was a terrific Impact in my opinion. Go find this one if you didn't see it, because if you don't, I think you're really missing out on a... My bad. You know, in the interest of full disclosure, I think it's time you and I had a conversation. Because you have been in a foul mood since last week when I accidentally walked in on you and exposed your plan to invade the British Fist channel. Go to hell, you little maggot. Months and months of carefully laid plans all flushed down the shitter in one moment. Just because you never learned how to knock before you enter a fucking room? Do you have any idea what you ruined? That was my chance to finally stick it to that poser son of a bitch once and for all, and now, thanks to you, that chance is gone. You should consider yourself lucky you're not breathing through a tube right now. Poser son of a bitch? Poser son of a... Oh, I get it. I get it. This wasn't about the British Fist. This was never about the British Fist. This was about Terminator NJ. Think long and hard before you go down this road. No more mysteries, no more mind games. I finally got you figured out. This was always about Terminator NJ, wasn't it? Your little Twitter feud, the 9/16/12 thing? My God. That's why you did it. That's why you accused me of being the leader of the Aces and Eights. Because he was claiming to be the leader, so you tried to make everyone think that I was the leader instead as a way to piss him off. It all makes perfect sense now. You think you're so fucking clever. I'm getting there. But there's one thing I still don't understand about all this. When the Aces and Eights turned out to be a group of complete losers, Terminator NJ took a page out of your book and said that I was the real leader after all. I would think you'd really get a kick out of that. And yet, you still hate him. Why? Well, you're the one with all the answers now. Why don't you tell me? You can't. Because you might think you know what's really going on here. You might think you know the whole story. But you know nothing. Wheels within wheels.